All right, good afternoon. It's Kinninigan. I'm going to be a little upfront about this video. This video might get me in trouble. I am going to be covering a conspiracy that should not be taken lightly. It was actually covered by people like the real Alex Jones. I don't know who the hell is playing Alex Jones now. It's not the same one I knew from 20 years ago. And we're going to be talking about another famous public figure in a few minutes who ties in with this, because this conspiracy was talked about 20 years ago and people laughed at it. It was around the time I first started researching reptilians, and I was posting at Disclosed TV. And this was the theory that was going around with Alex Jones, how they were going to implement the quote-unquote New World Order, specifically dealing with the rounding up of American dissidents and Camp FEMA. Now, as crazy as this conspiracy sounds, there are some conspiracies that will get you banned. And in fact, I'm going to show you in this video that topic with the FEMA camps was actually banned. So that lets you know that this is not something that should be taken lightly. There is some other things I'm going to be making, hopefully, if I don't get banned off YouTube for a week. So yeah, please share, like, subscribe. I'm pretty upfront with people. I always need money. I had someone, Travis, just gave me a small donation on PayPal. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get money together to get some marijuana, and I need cigarettes always. So I don't put ads on my videos. And also, for my Patreon and local members, or if you want to sign up to Patreon and locals, there's going to be a special post that I put on my Patreon today and my locals. And in fact, we're going to get it while I make this video. We might be breaking the law today, but oh well. Because it is an episode of a TV show dealing with FEMA camps, and it was banned from television. And the person who made that TV show, we're going to talk about him in a few minutes, and I don't think he's a Freemason. I think he's legit, and I'm also going to tell you something about him you may not have known. And I believe that in that episode of the TV show, Alex Jones might actually be in that one talking about it. But the theory, and so I'm going to go through information here, and I'm going to put some other things together that I know about the occult that is symbolic. Now, you know, I already made the video with Rex 84. Nobody figured that one out. The dinosaur, the T-Rex that was in Minneapolis when Renee Good got shot. And that is this is dealing with Rex 84. Rex 84 is the plan to round up domestic terrorists. Let's be honest, when they say domestic terrorists, they're talking about free-thinking Christians, specifically Catholics, and people that are not pagan. But they're going to implement this slowly, and in fact, if they start rounding people up, you're actually going to be cheering it on at first, because the first ones are going to start rounding up are Antifa. And it's called the boiling frog. You increase the temperature of the water, the frog doesn't jump out of the water. And Alex Jones was always talking about the boiling frog also, ironically, how they leak this stuff out slowly as they do it and things are escalating. But we got some more symbolism. So yeah, I have Cash App, PayPal, Vemnos in my description, in my links. It's 12:30 right now. In fact, there's a smoke shop in my neighborhood that's open until 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays, and it stopped snowing finally. I got to go out and shovel my payment. Yeah. But anyway, they sell cheaper cigarettes there, so I can go down there. And of course, yeah, I need marijuana. So, and I am going to be putting a special post on I had to make sure I could say I could put it on there, and I don't think I'm going to have an issue with copyright, because that television show was broadcast on True TV. There's some other things that I would like to put on my Patreon, but because of copyright, I can't. Like Netflix is bad, Amazon is bad. Or else I would have put the new American Sasquatch documentary on there for you from David Paulides. I have it. I don't know. We'll see. So before I get into this, and secondly, in my defense, I do not like talking about these subjects. I do not like doing fear porn, and what I'm going to tell you is horrifying. This is something. This is straight evil, demonically. It's demonic. It's satanic. But then again, I keep telling you, these are the people trying to usher in the Antichrist. So what do you expect? And it also ties in with another conspiracy, which I'm going to have to do in a separate video. This is going to be like a whole video series of what's going on in Minneapolis, because even that is a conspiracy going back 20 years with Alex Jones. How they want to turn Canada, North America, Mexico, and all the other countries in the South America into what is called the North American Union. And then I just found out we instilled a Zionist puppet in Venezuela. We have a Zionist puppet in Mexico, Scheinbaum. We have a Zionist puppet in Canada. Hello, do you see where I'm going with? Why are they instilling? Oh, and by the way, those countries also have FEMA camps. That is the idea of the North American Union. When the New World Order is set up, we won't have the United States of America anymore. It's just going to be the quote unquote North American Union. You'll have Europe and basically like Eurasia. And as a follow up to this, this is where Greenland would come in, because if they implement these roundups, it's going to coincide with global events, which is making sense with the whole Greenland thing right now. That means that China will probably attack Taiwan, Russia will invade Europe, then all the shit's going to hit the fan, because this is a global depopulation event. And then I'm also going to tell you what they're going to do when you get to Camp FEMA. Some of us will be executed, and some of us will be, quote unquote, re educated. They've been talking about that for years. In fact, Hillary Clinton was going around saying that we need to re educate MAGA people. She wasn't joking about that. We always thought it was going to be Hillary Clinton that was going to be the downfall of the United States, and we were suddenly saved. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case anymore. And believe me, I do not take. All right, so Camp FEMA. Now I'm getting these pics off Yandex because this information has been scrubbed. Why? Because this conspiracy theory is real. It's going to be very hard to find good information on FEMA camps on YouTube. It's been scrubbed over the years, and there's only a few conspiracies that has happened to. It's never happened about reptilians. It's never happened about aliens or HARP or any of that stuff. There's only let's see, a few. One other conspiracy, for example, in recent times that has been scrubbed for obvious reasons has been Pizzagate. I wonder why. Because that involved not just pedophilia, but the harvesting of adrenochrome. And we're going to be talking about that. Uh, yeah, like I said, this video is going to be kind of horrifying when you find out. And there's some symbolism going on here that's scaring the shit out of me, to be honest. You're hearing talk, okay? So I'm going to be going through this information. And then, like I said, there's going to be a post on my Patreon and my locals, and I will do that today. In fact, we're going to get that TV show while I make this video. I'll show you in a second. Because, and then it'll go into more details about what the conspiracy is. And I was dealing with stuff. And that's going all the way back to 2009 is when that TV show was made. So I'm kind of an OG when it comes to conspiracy theories. And we were all crazy for talking about it then. They would never do that. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, if it does happen, people are going to be cheering it on at first, because the first ones they're going to round up is going to be Antifa and the blue hair crazy liberals, and everyone's going to be cheering it on. So Trump's talking about invoking the Insurrection Act. Now, this all goes back to Obama, too, going back to 2009, which is why that episode of TV was scrubbed off the air. If you figured out what TV show it is, leave me a comment down, because if you know which TV show I'm talking about already, you might know. Yeah, because Obama allegedly, when he was the president, fired a lot of patriotic generals, and they were asked questions. If in the case, would they execute Americans if they were ordered to? However, there's something more sinister that is going to happen at FEMA camps. Um, like I said, this is going to get downright disturbing and very evil and satanic. But these people are demonically controlled. What do you expect? Okay, this is what I try to teach people. So we're hearing about the Insurrection Act now on Fox News today. I was going through some clips because they show up in my feed every morning, and I'm always looking. Now I was spot on about telling you they were going to use the word chaos to That's going back to the Greek pantheon of gods again. There's a reason why we'll talk about that, because I have a theory about what quote unquote re-education is going to be. And we're hearing about Trump has troops on standby. The troops that he has on standby are from Alaska. They're the cold weather unit. Yeah, it's 9 degrees in Minneapolis. Enjoy your fucking George Soros protest money. Um, and they're going to find out real quick what useful idiots are under fascist regimes, because they're going to be the first ones rounded up. And then, like the boiling frog, once they start rounding up Antifa, and this will, so what'll happen is there's going to be an event, without a doubt. And that event is probably more or less going to be one of these protesters is going to shoot either a military soldier or an ICE agent. They're already showing them on TV holding AR-15s. Like these fucking people have weapons trained. It doesn't matter. They're going to orchestrate an event, which will, and the fact that they're even talking about the Insurrection Act means they're going to invoke it, and the military will start and now, as all this goes down, please keep in mind too, and they've thought this out also. When this does go down, there's probably going to be dissent in the military. This is probably why they brought up a few weeks ago. Remember the symbolism of certain politicians telling the military they don't have to follow quote unquote illegal orders? Well, executing Americans would be an illegal order, wouldn't it? So the conspiracy with Camp FEMA is, here's where things get disturbing. That's a guillotine. Allegedly, during the Obama administration, thousands of guillotines were ordered. Why they're going to use guillotines? And let's see if I can find it on here. This is on Yandex, the Russian search engine, because, like I said, it's been scrubbed. But God bless Russia, they don't give a fuck about bad. Yeah, these are. Oh, here we go. And there were thousands of these staged all around the country, which are plastic coffins. Here, I had the map up. Yeah, FEMA death camps. Okay, let's get more specific here. Um, Here's the location of all the FEMA camps that we know of, all around the United States. Supposedly, they're set up for quote unquote emergency situations, hurricanes, flood. You just get the idea. Although they've never used them yet. Now, what's going to happen is here's how things will probably kick off. Now, they're also stating on Fox News, here's where some symbolism ties in. They're talking about an event this Friday. That is January 25th. Please keep that date in mind. It's very important. These people work by dates, and their rituals work by dates, and this is very important because we're going to pull the satanic calendar up in a second. They're talking about they're trying to organize, and I showed you the other day that they had this event they were organized in Minneapolis with goats of all things. That was symbolic. Just watch the two other videos they made, the one about Greenland and the one about Rex 84 if you haven't yet, and see the symbolism I pointed out. So the protesters are talking about a quote unquote day of action coming up this Friday. Now, why is that disturbing? Because when you go to the satanic calendar, this is how I know when false flag events are going to happen. This is the list of satanic holidays. The latest holiday we had was yesterday. That was Satanic Revels. That is a sexual ritual with 17 to 17-year-old females. That's a pedophile ritual. Here's where the dates get disturbing. January 20th to January 27th is a whole week of human sacrifice. But here's where things get disturbing. This is ceremonial preparation and holding of sacrificial victim for Candlemas abduction. Meaning between January 20th and 27th, they typically abduct, some cases, children. But in this case, they might be abducting people from Minneapolis. We've been hearing about ICE abducting people, haven't we? The symbolism's right in front of your face. This is called revelation of the method, where Satanists have to reveal what they're going to do before they do it. And in this case, they revealed their plan over 25 years ago with all this shit that we know about FEMA camps. And you don't hear about it, well, you weren't hearing about it for a while, because when Trump became president, the talk of FEMA camps kind of died down. Then the QAnon shit came out, and then then Epstein Island, and we thought the pedophiles were going down, and the deep state, and I'm draining the swamp. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, January 20, which conveniently falls right on January 25th. Also, I'm expecting the Insurrection Act to be invoked between January 20th and the 27th. The military will come in, and what they'll do is they're going to start mass arresting people out there. Then what's going to happen is, oh, how convenient. We don't have enough room in prisons for these people. So where are we going to put all these protesters we arrested? Hey, well, we're not using the FEMA camp right now. Why don't we? It's like a barracks. We'll just it's like an open air prison. We'll just send them there. And yeah, and that's how it'll start. And at first, people will be cheering it on because they're arresting all the liberals out there. Um, Now, this gets even more sinister. As you know, when Trump, this has to do more like JD Vance has been pushing this. That is the Zionist AI system known as Palantir. By the way, Palantir is a word from Lord of the Rings. That's why I hate that they use that. That's one of the scrying balls from Lord of the Rings, um, the Palantirs. Because, in my opinion, and this is what scares the shit out of me, because they're coming for me. The idea was also with these FEMA camps is that certain people in society who are deemed a threat to their New World Order, people like me, other conspiracy theorists, well, we're not conspiracy theorists anymore, like I said. Just give it time, everything, we're proven right, except we didn't want to be right about this conspiracy. With the use of something like Palantir, they could scrub social media. They'll get the names and addresses of everyone they need to be quote unquote rounded up, and eventually it won't start off that way, but that's eventually what'll happen. In my opinion, a practice run for this was done with January 6th and all the protesters at the Capitol. Because what happened right after January 6th? They started rounding everybody up. 3 a.m. in the morning, raids on their houses to arrest them, disappeared in the night, like we heard about, real Nazis doing back in World War II with the Jews, rounding them up. And that's what'll happen. They'll start rounding up, quote unquote, dissidents. People, that are a threat to their, quote unquote, plans or know what's going to happen. People like me scares the shit out of me. Um, and they'll also be sending us to Camp FEMA, and that'll probably happen after. And that has to deal more with like Rex 84, but it'll start in Minneapolis. What I'm guessing what's going to happen is he'll declare the Insurrection Act, and you'll see protests break out all across the country, just like the Summer of Love. That was a dry run for that, and So anyway, anyone who's a threat to their existence, Catholics specifically, I check every box of everything they hate. I'm Catholic. Um, I talk about their secret societies. I know all their. I mean, who else is giving you lectures like this with the satanic calendar pulled up? This is how I know when the shit's gonna hit the fan. Usually. Um, but anyway, so watch out for that date. So yeah. Now, here's where things start getting a little disturbing. One of my favorite public figures, Jesse Ventura. I'm going to tell you a few things about Jesse Ventura you might not know, but from 2009 to 2012, that's when I first started researching reptilians also. Jesse Ventura, and he did a TV series, and this was on True TV, which is why nothing's. It's not on any streaming services right now, so it'd be very hard for you to find this TV show. But he had 3 seasons of a TV show called Conspiracy Theory, and he had 3 seasons of it. I watched it every week when it came out. He covered HARP, 9/11, global warming, Big Brother, secret societies, Manchurian Carrot, the apocalypse in 2012, which never happened. Season 2, though, episode 4, he did an episode about the FEMA camps called The Police State Conspiracy. There was also a movie coming out about this. It was called Gray State. I could be wrong. But allegedly, the person that was writing that movie, his entire family was executed. I don't know if he's heard about that. He was working on a movie where this actually happens, and that movie, yeah, the more or less the person making that movie was killed. This episode aired on TV one time, and it was banned from ever airing on TV again. That was Friday, November 12th, 2010. I saw it on TV when it actually aired, and you cannot find it anywhere unless you're on my Patreon or my locals. Because guess what? I am putting that episode on my Patreon and my locals. Okay, so if you support me there, you didn't see this because I can't afford to buy TV shows. We're going to look for it right now on the Pirate Bay. Here it is, complete season 2. All right, we got it. Shh. This is how I get a lot of my look. I can't afford TV shows and movies. I do buy video games though. All right, my software work. Grab this torrent. Open in BitTorrent. Okay, good. One seater, one leecher. Okay, not a big deal. Oh, I gotta reopen BitTorrent again. What happened? Oh, it's already running. I had it open already. Not a big deal. Yeah, if you ever wonder what all these icons are on my desktop, they're Oh, I had this open earlier. I have to. It's a BitTorrent's weird. I'm gonna have to shut it down and not a big deal. Anyway, I will download it. It's on the Pirate Bay right here. Oh, check this out. Right there. Episode 4, Police State banned from re-airing on TV by the federal government. So please don't take this. Okay, that's all right. I will get this downloaded. But let me read you the summary. It's been said the government has a plan to declare martial law and round up millions of United States citizens into concentration camps. Jesse may have found a conspiracy in plain sight as he investigates the proliferation of law enforcement fusion centers around the country, and they may be connected to hundreds of detention centers ready to accept prisoners at the stroke of a presidential pen. And he actually goes to one of those FEMA camps and checks it out. And that episode was banned from ever re-airing on TV. So the idea is they bring you to Camp FEMA. Here's where things get disturbing. Here's what I think is going to happen with people they round up. This makes sense, and knowing how sinister and downright evil they are. Um, so you get rounded up and taken to Camp FEMA if you're a dissident. Here's what I think is going to happen. Um, One, I think they're going to take everybody's blood that goes into Camp FEMA. And why is that? If you are unvaccinated, like a pure blood, like I am, and you are a universal organ donor, um, they're going to want to harvest your blood and your organs. If you are vaccinated or sick, there's a chance they may even be harvesting adrenochrome from this place for the elites. Why not? And this is why they would be using quote unquote guillotines. You behead people, you don't use bullets, so you don't destroy internal organs. China has this down to a science. So using guillotines would be the easiest way to one, harvest all human blood that is unvaccinated, pure bloods. I got O positive blood. I'm a universal blood donor. I don't want to go to Camp FEMA. Okay, I'm going to be marked for organ donation and blood harvesting, and I'm Catholic on top of that. So yeah, I'm. They ain't taking me without a fight. Um, I'm saying that right now. I swear I hope it doesn't come to this and I'm wrong, but this is what terrifies me. And yes, so again, if you can support the channel, I definitely need to smoke a joint after talking about stuff like this. This is not something I take lightly. So yeah, the idea is now some people they may not execute people they want to have around. Those are people that are probably not highly religious. Most probably people that are vaccinated already. Like I said, they'll probably test your blood when you go there. I'm assuming, and they'll kind of separate people and people that they feel can be quote unquote re-educated. They will probably be re-educated. They'll probably be forced to convert to paganism. They'll probably learn about the new pantheon of gods, such as I'm assuming that they're going to use the gods of Mount Olympus, the Greek pantheon, for a bunch. This is why you're hearing they use a lot of Greek names. All your space program missions are named after Greek gods: Apollo, Artemis. They're invoking the Greek god of chaos all the time. So yeah, it kind of makes sense, and that'll be what their new world order is. They're going to go back to the Greek pantheon, or any mainly pagan pantheon. So those few people that they feel can be quote unquote re-educated, they'll probably allow them to live. However, people on the far right and people on the far left will both be executed because, like I said, useful idiots. Yeah, specifically patriots, Catholics, people who make a good profile for being organ donors, having clean blood. That's very important to the elite. Um, China has been doing this kind of sick organ harvesting shit for quite a while. We all know that. And so that's kind of the. Now, here's a few things about Jesse Ventura you might not know why I trust him. Yeah, he was an ex Navy SEAL, but did you know that while he was a Navy SEAL, he was also sergeant at arms for the Mongols Motorcycle Club in California? Those are some pretty tough dudes. And being a ex 1% biker, and he was a sergeant at arms, that's basically a club enforcer, not somebody you want to mess with. And they are also at war with the Hells Angels in California. They don't get along. So Jesse's got quite a few enemies. And he's not like by the deep state. This is why I don't think he's a Freemason. They broke his balls when he became governor. He supposedly had visits from the CIA. He said all this. He said he had visits from the CIA. They want to know how he won the election. Doesn't sound like a Freemason to me. And I'm telling you right now, all the idiot actors out in Minneapolis, Tim Walz, that Frank mayor, they're Freemason. And so is that Mumdani in New York. And this is what's disturbing me. Why are you instilling a Zionist Muslim mayor in New York City? Well, if you want to round up Catholics, that sounds like a real good idea now, doesn't it? And that's part of the plan with Albert Pike in the Three World Wars. See, the idea is as these roundups start to happen, sending people to Camp FEMA, it's going to be World War II all over again, except the Jews dying in concentration camps. It's going to be us dying in concentration camps. The world won't know about it. It'll happen in other countries. And in the quote unquote, what's known as the fog of war, they'll probably have World War III breakout, international conflict, so people stay distracted. They could feed the news media 24 hours a day with what's going on with World War III instead of what's going on at Camp FEMA as they're rounding up Americans. All the while, people all around the country will be having their doors kicked in at 3 o'clock in the morning, the witching hour, so you can be rounded up. And that'll be done in conjunction with Palantir AI to track you down and figure out who the dissidents are, who's been posting about the New World Order on Facebook, who's talking about Camp FEMA, Kinninigan. Yeah, that mofo. Yeah, believe me, they know where I'm at. Um, kind of scares me. I'm getting a little nervous right now. And yeah. So another follow-up video I want to make to this is the idea of what the FEMA zones are going to look like. The North American Union that Alex Jones was talking about 20 years ago. How Europe will just basically be one country. Asia will be a big country. And we won't have 212 countries anymore. It'll all be consolidated. Basically, every continent will be its own country. That's what the North American Union is, and now they're instilling Zionist puppet shills in South American countries. We already got that idiot up in Canada. We know about that. Australia's been and this is why they've been disarming people in Australia, Europe. Why they've been coming after our guns in America, because they don't want any resistance when this happens. But there is going to be dissent in the military and among patriots and Christians. We'll probably be accused of being domestic terrorists, but yeah, call it what it is, the Rebel Alliance or whatever. It'll happen. It happens whenever something like this happens in history. And the world's going to go to shit. And this is just so they can have their new world order. And let me end the video with this. And this is on my Patreon. If you, let's see. This is a pic I don't like showing, but you want to see what kind of sick perverts you're dealing with? Trump went to Davos. He went to Davos. I think he's there right now. He's supposedly, yeah. What are they planning in fucking Davos with the World Economic Forum right now? Think about that also. They're probably doing a ritual right before they kick this off. I just showed you the satanic calendar. This ritual starts on the 20th of January. Human sacrifice, right there. Female or child, any age. Yeah, this is the satanic calendar. So, and he's meeting with, of all people, this is Klaus Schwab. This is not AI. This was a picture taken of him on a beach somewhere. I'm assuming it's Europe. Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, just so we know who we're dealing with. And this ain't a meme. This outfit he's wearing is actually called the Bride of Satan. This is this is shit that secret societies do, where they do their drag rituals. Well, he went out and fucking like that on a beach. This is what they want their new world order for, so these fucking freaks can worship reptilians in plain sight and walk around on beaches like this. And there's too many of us to control. And this is what is kind of scaring me right now. So yeah, they're talking about launching the Insurrection Act. The mayor, Jacob Frey, he's probably a piece of shit Freemason. I wouldn't doubt it. He's going along with the plan. does what he does for his little Babylonian handlers, threatens more violence until ICE leaves. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be an incident. Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act, and the roundups will start with protesters. And then it'll, like I said, the boiling frog. Then people will just start, quote unquote, disappearing. And before anyone can figure out what's happening in America, they'll kick off some type of international incident, whether it's fucking Greenland or China invades Taiwan or whatever. And that'll keep people distracted and not knowing. Just like they use distractions to cover up other distractions. We're not going to see any arrests for the Epstein. Oh, that'll be the other thing that'll be allowed in the New World Order. MAPS. Minor attracted people. Remember they were trying to push that word? Yeah, pedophilia will be legal. Bestiality, human and animal sacrifice. It's going to be Babylon on Earth. And this will all be done so then they can rebuild the third temple, invoke the Antichrist, and the rest is written in biblical prophecy. So that's my video. If you could support the channel. If this video disappears, it's because YouTube banned me for a week. Okay? I'm sorry. So please, I don't run ads on my videos. And again, if you're on my Patreon or locals, that Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory episode will be on my Patreon by the end of the day. And my locals. I got to download it and upload it to there and make sure it clears all the copyright. It should. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that came out on True TV in 2010, and I should be alright for copyright. There's some other things I got on there if you go to my Patreon and locals. That one good thing would be, and if you watch the episode, it will go into more detail about the plan of how they're going to round people up and what the purposes of the camps are. Well, I just told you what the purpose is. And, you know, everything's a conspiracy. Just like, Obama totally didn't order a bunch of guillotines. Oh, here we go. 30,000 of them. 30,000 guillotines. 800 FEMA camps. Execution by guillotine. Why would you do that? Like I said, blood harvesting and organ harvesting. And there were laws that were passed by Obama. That's probably why this TV show got banned from never airing on TV again. Obama is also the reason why, you want to know why? He also got the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Season 2 banned off Netflix. And that's another reason why I hate his ass. I have that on my hard drive. I do have the whole Dark Crystal Age of Resistance TV show on my hard drive. They were going to do a Season 2. It was a good show. That's because, yeah, the Skeksis totally don't look like Alpha Draconian reptilians, and they totally weren't harvesting adrenochrome off the Gelfling in that show. But they let that movie Cutie stay on Netflix, of course, right? And every show that they air on Netflix now is just seeping with pedophilia, symbolism, and homosexuality, of all things, and trans. Go figure. Well, when you got Obama on the board of directors, what do you expect? Can't show the Dark Crystal. We can have cuties on here, though. Yeah, that's that pedophile movie with the little girls twerking. It's disgusting. Anyway, I hope I'm wrong, but there's a lot of symbolism you can't ignore here. Anyway, I guess it's time to take a walk to the smoke shop. So if you could support the channel, I appreciate it. I'm trying to, let's see, what do I need to raise today? I need cigarettes. I don't know. We're just going to use the Illuminati number. I'm trying to raise about $33. That's about right. The days of buying. Oh, back in 2009, I could buy a $5 bag of weed, but you can't anymore. That's the only thing I miss about 2009. Nobody sells grams of weed anymore. So if you know, you know. If you're a smoker, you know what I'm talking about. Even at the dispensaries, the least you can buy is you can buy a pre-rolled joint. I think it, but I don't go to the dispensary. Uh, but anyway, I don't want to think about Camp FEMA anymore today. Well, I got to upload that. I will get that downloaded. Um, I got pretty good internet. The shows usually download within it. Depends how many people are sharing the torrent. But there are some people that are sharing it on the Pirate Bay, so we do have that episode. Um, I'll get it, and I'm gonna put that episode on my. Oh, by the way, he did do an episode about reptilians, season 3, episode 1. Lizard-like shape-shifting humanoids, are they real? Jesse Ventura should have got. Well, I wasn't really known in 2012. I was only known at Disclosed TV, where I was posting on forums back then. But he didn't learn about anything about reptilians in that episode because some idiot took him to Dulce, New Mexico, and they stood out in the desert. And the idiot was like, "There's a huge underground reptilian base right below our feet." And I was like, "That's the Dulce base. There's no There's alien grays under there, but there isn't reptilians. No. You want to find reptilians, Jesse, you need to take a trip with me to Greenland. And I'll teach you about the Greenland anomaly. I'm going to make a video about the Greenland anomaly because that is supposedly where Rome is headquartered right now. So yeah, he had these other episodes. None of the other episodes got banned. Skinwalkers, Ozark, time travel, reptilians. They just yeah. He did do an episode on reptilians though. But this one, the police state conspiracy, and I'm gonna try to find. I think that movie was called Gray State. I could be wrong. About the guy making a movie about the FEMA camp conspiracy, and mysteriously his whole family was killed. They do not want this conspiracy getting out. And like I said, I showed you here. This episode was banned off TV, banned from re-airing on TV by the federal government. That's Obama. That was Obama back then. Same piece of shit who had the Dark Crystal. Also, when Jim Henson was alive, he was going to make a part 2 to the Dark Crystal movie, and allegedly he was threatened. We believe Jim Henson was assassinated by the deep state. The last movie Jim Henson made was a movie about, it was called Witches, which I also have on my hard drive. And if you remember that movie, it was about a coven of witches abducting children and eating them. And sadly, that would be the last movie we got from Jim Henson. And he was going to make a Dark Crystal sequel, but he was told not to. There's something about the Skeksis that they don't like, and I'm telling you why right now. And anyone with that knowledge, sadly, we'll all be rounded up and probably sent to Camp FEMA for having that knowledge about reptilians, unfortunately. But yeah, looking for a good thumbnail here. Oh, welcome to FEMA camp. Yeah. So hopefully I don't get banned off YouTube for this. I don't do fear porn, but I can't ignore symbolism. And again, if this happens, this will set human civilization back 5,000 fucking years if they get their quote unquote new world order. This is what their quote unquote re-education is. That started with Obama also, with Common Core education. There's a reason why they created Obama's presidency is what gives you 20-year-old pink hair liberals right now, because he's the one who instilled Common Core education that educated said liberals. See how that works? And again, it was Alex Jones who, 20 years ago, talking about all this FEMA camp stuff, and Jesse Ventura, and they got shut down for it. FEMA camp bill. Yeah. Mayorkas and Biden's FEMA camps for dissidents. Yeah, they didn't get that one started yet. There we go. That's the thumbnail. Rex84. No box. Greetings from Camp FEMA. Alright, I think we got a thumbnail image. Pretty bad I gotta come to Yandex. Friggin' Russian search engine to find. Hey, if you want to find stuff about Pizzagate, you also gotta come to Yandex. Because Russia doesn't protect pedophiles, apparently. So anyway, I don't take this lightly. God help us all if this is, I hope I'm wrong about a lot of this stuff, but then again, don't be surprised if you hear about the Insurrection Act being invoked. And like I said, right by the numbers, January 20th to 27th is a whole week of Candlemas where they abduct people for human sacrifice. How convenient. And of all things, Trump is in Davos right now with, yeah. He's also a member of the Order of the Black Sun. That's a secret society you don't hear about too often. That is a sinister. You want me to make videos about real secret societies you never heard of? How about I make some videos about like the Temple of Set, the Ninth Circle, the Council of 300, and there were 300 Anunnaki in ancient Babylon. The real Illuminati, which you can't join if you're human because it is the Anunnaki, it's the reptilians. And then you've got a few people, members of the Illuminati, who are public faces, Klaus Schwab being one of them. And we already know what their plans are when they get their New World Order started. The ones that survive, the ones who are re-educated, you're going to move into smart cities, and you're going to be eating bugs, and you're going to live on a government stipend. It'll be like $1,000 a month, and then you're also going to have carbon tax or carbon credits and a social media score. They've been dry running that one in China already. And then, yeah, welcome to the New World Order police state. You'll be eating bugs, worshiping reptilians and fucking pagan gods, living in your smart city. They've already cleared out California for one, and Hawaii. You don't think it's a coincidence? You want to know why those houses haven't been rebuilt in the Palisades in California already? Newsom was instilled in California to fuck the whole state up for the New World Order. You haven't figured it out yet? And now they're talking about blue cities are going to burn. Yeah, I'm in a blue city. I'm in Philadelphia. Yeah, of course it's going to burn. They can't nuke the cities because they become radioactive, and then you can't build a smart city there for... Yeah. So they're going to try other ways, and they figured it out. Well, we could just use dues and burn people's houses down. Oops, forest fire broke out. Burn the whole fucking city down. Now we can build our smart city. And those will be cities pretty much run by, yeah, you got it, artificial intelligence. God help us all. I told you, you're dealing with some sick, sinners, demonically possessed people here. What do you expect? Anyway, that's all for my rant today. I can't take much more talking about this subject. If you want to support the channel, all my links are in the description. What I will say is I will do a follow-up video to this. And that'll be about the North American Union and what is possibly going to happen on a global scale, and go into more detail about Greenland, of all things. Any questions or comments, leave them below. God bless and take care.